let's talk to Aaron Fox in San Antonio. He's got the most games. I think it's 4 so far since he got traded to San Antonio. Him and Wembanyama combined for more than 60 points in the Spurs win over the Wizards on Monday night. Thoughts on that pairing?
Yeah, I like that they didn't just immediately bring Fox in and do the whole, all right, we're going to do a game of him and Chris Paul. Now Chris Paul's the backup. I like that they're kind of saying, hey, we're going to play the two of them together, at least to
Yeah.
open games. They looks like Mitch Johnson is settling into a semi-early sub pattern where he's going to get one of them off the court. It's going to probably be Chris Paul. Then he's going to get into a little bit bigger of a lineup, and then Chris Paul will come back in really to kind of run and control that second unit. But it's working out pretty good. Fox isn't hitting his threes yet in San Antonio. That'll come with time. You can see him and Wembanyama are kind of figuring out the two-man action, and that's important to note. I mean, we're coming off of, 3-ish years together with Sabonis, where that was one of the best two-man games in the league. And it's just Wembanyama, for all his talents, he's not where Sabonis is as a passer or a screener or any of that stuff. So that'll all get figured out. But, so far so good. You can kind of see it. I like when Fox gets it and he's like, let's go. And you're going to see that, I think, more when we come out of the All-Star break of he's going to really be kind of, no, we need to play at this pace. Let's really get up and down the floor. Let's run, because that's maybe Wembanyama's best skill amongst a whole ton of them is he's extremely quick. So between that and his long strides, it's like 5 steps and he's from rim to rim. And if you're Fox, you're going to want to take advantage of that. Let's get down there before defenses can get set. We've seen a little bit of that. So, so far so good. I'm excited again to watch those two guys grow together and really to see how the Spurs put in all the other players around those two. Because, they're going to be the cornerstones. Everything else is going to, orbit around them.
Yeah, and even Wembanyama as the trailer on the fast break too is just going to be. He had 4 3-pointers against the Wizards I was listening to the Wizards broadcast and they were falling out of their chairs. They're like, "Oh my god!"
Yeah,
I was like, "Yeah, dude, haven't you seen this guy?" So the thing I really like about, I'm with you. I love that they kept Chris Paul in the starting lineup. That was my biggest fear when they made the trade. I was like, Chris Paul's kind of awesome for this Spurs team, and he's really the guy that Victor Wembanyama needed after his rookie year. I love that they kept him in there. De'Aaron Fox has been in the league for a long time, all NBA, all-star kind of guy. Never has played with a veteran like Chris Paul. He is going to get an extra graduate degree in point guarding by being around Chris Paul here. And I love that they're using Fox as a shooting guard. They're just like, look, we can sacrifice some size in the backcourt because we have the biggest human on the planet as our center, and it's okay. And I like that Fox has just sort of embraced it. He's like, all right, I'm the 2 guard. I'm going to be a scoring guard over here. And then obviously when Chris Paul comes out, I'll do some of my two-man game stuff and we'll kind of explore the studio space in terms of what we can do together. But I also like how deferential De'Aaron Fox is being too. He picked San Antonio because he obviously wanted to play for Victor Wembanyama, unless he's a big Riverwalk guy. But I think it was because of Wembanyama. And he's like, yeah, I'm the number 2 to this guy. And I think that's really cool that he's sort of embraced that. And you could tell he's doing it because Wembanyama's kind of going off in that first quarter of that Wizards game. And De'Aaron Fox is like, all right, cool. I'll get to the foul line a little bit here. I'll kind of do my things here. And then in the fourth quarter, I thought they really started to lean into that 2-man game. So I don't know. It's such an intriguing fit there for so many different reasons. And I'm kind of excited to see it. And you mentioned Fox and Sabonis was such a natural point guard pick and roll center duo in almost every single way. It was throwback, where that's not the case with Victor Wembanyama. So Fox figuring out how this is going to operate and having Chris Paul to help him do it. I think just seeing the beginning of this is obviously very productive, but it's not where it's going to be, obviously.
Yeah, absolutely. I think also having Chris Paul out there keeps you from getting too Wemby Fox focused.
Yeah.
Where those two guys' natural inclination is going to be, let's try to make this work with each other. They played Orlando the other night. Orlando ended up winning the game. But one of the really cool things that happened early was Harrison Barnes was ridiculously hot. And Chris Paul was the one who was like, no, we need to keep feeding him. He's the one who has it going. Let's keep getting him the ball. they went away from it after the first quarter or so, but that was at least initially like that's the guy, right? And Chris Paul's going to do that. They've had plays in each of these games where Devin Vassell goes like
Yep.
5-6 possessions in a row without a touch, and then it's Chris Paul who's like, hey, we're going to run something to get Devin Vassell a touch because he's so smart, right? He's going to make sure we got to keep everybody engaged here. We it can't be the two of you and occasionally me. We got to get all these other guys touches, keep them involved, keep them engaged in the game. And that's why, again, you don't go away from Chris Paul. That was also when the trade happened. Everybody was, where's Chris Paul going to go, right? He's going to get bought out. Is he going back to Sacramento? When they made it clear he wasn't going to be in the trade because they were going to match salary in other ways, it was like, okay, all right, well then Chris Paul's not going anywhere. Like they're not just going to buy him out. Not with how well it's gone, how happy he is. You know, he's made this work. He's, you know, good with that. And now if you're the Spurs too, you can kind of go into the summer if it's like, Chris Paul would like to maybe go back home and finish it out closer to home. You kind of say, all right, man, thanks for, you know, everything you did in this transitional year for us. And, you know, good luck with what you do, you know, in your final as your career, you know, winds down here. But Chris Paul's playing great this year. Like, I don't, these guys where I'm like, well, this is done. This guy's wrapping up. I'm like, I don't know, maybe they're all going to play, you know, 4 or 5 more years and just still be going into their mid to late 40s.
I mean, just the quarterbacking that Chris Paul does, like that is so valuable. It's such a great point that you made. It's because you get young guys like Fox and Wembanyama, they might just feel like, okay, this is our team. Let's do this. It's up to everybody else to figure it out around us, or maybe not even like that conscious. It's just like, hey, we're the stars. Let's kind of just do our thing here. Chris Paul being able to get everybody to eat is such an important part because Devin Vassell is a good player, right? Like they have some interesting young guys. They have a Sohan that they want to still kind of explore what this guy is. And having Chris Paul out there to make sure that everybody gets some opportunity is going to be hugely important as this team builds. I kind of hope that they keep him around. Let him hang out, man. Like, why not? But we'll see. They're a really interesting team to see what they do in the offseason.